Hello, and welcome to Uncommon Conversations on Signature Television. We are reaching you from our studios in Enugu, the Coast City States. Of course, Enugu is the capital of Southeast Nigeria. Last week, the Supreme Court of Nigeria made a landmark judgment in which it made certain pronouncements that would appear to have given autonomy to local government councils in Nigeria. The Supreme Court in that ruling directed or affirmed that all funds going to local governments should no longer go through the Joint Allocation Committee of the states, but should be paid directly to the council accounts of elected councils throughout Nigeria. That would mean if a state government is running a caretaker committee, such a state government, such local governments are unqualified to receive allocation from the federation account. The ruling also affirmed that governors do not have a right at all to dissolve elected councils. That would also imply that caretaker committees, which about 22 states in Nigeria are running, the Supreme Court says it is illegal and they should no longer be operated as such. Nigerians have been reacting. Nigerians have been responding. And Nigerians have been making comments on this judgment. There are two divides. One are those obviously led by James Ibori, former governor of Delta State, who affirmed that that ruling violates certain sections of the Constitution. And of course, Michael Zekome, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, leads the other pack that said the Supreme Court had made a policy decision and that Nigeria should welcome it. It is the only way to restore the dignity of the local government system. On whichever divide you are, Nigerians are clamoring that the local government system should be allowed to breathe. It's like they're being choked by the governors. And so this evening, we are here to do what? To have a look at the local government autonomy. How could it be constitutionally redirected? What can we do to ensure that that autonomy, as foreseen by the Supreme Court, is made legitimate? I've been joined in the studio by no less a person than Chief Okezie Nwanjoko, an Enugu-based attorney, a former local government chairman. Chief Nwanjoko, welcome to Common Conversations.
Good, thank you, Dr. Siranoke. Good evening, our global audience. My pleasure to be here this evening.
Okay, we'll just take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Welcome back. You are still watching Uncommon Conversations on Signature Television, and we're still broadcasting from our studios in Enugu. Chief Wanjoko, I said you're a lawyer, and a former local government chairman, and I'm sure you've read at least part of that judgment. What are your thoughts?
Thank you once again, Dr. Cyril. As a matter of fact, that judgment that was delivered last week by a panel of 7 Supreme Court justices, led by Justice Agim, that judgment has been applauded by vast majority of Nigerians. Some also, like you said, has some misgivings about that judgment. But whichever side one belongs of the argument, the popular view, opinion in the public space is that local government, everything should be done legally to ensure that local government enjoys autonomy as a supposedly third-tier system of government. I was privileged to appear in a radio discussion sometime last week, which you also anchored. And my views were made clear, which I'm going to restate here this evening. I said what the decision of the Supreme Court on that judgment is an act of judicial activism by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court tried to lean towards the yearning of the public. The Supreme Court is the final court, it's the last court. Being the last court, anything they say, whether it is wrong or right, is final. And becomes final until it is reversed by the Supreme Court, maybe in another opportunity, but not in the same matter. Arising from that, they've taken that decision to liberate the local government from the stronghold of the state government. But I did say, and I'm repeating it here, that that decision, most majority of Nigerians applauded it. It depends on the side you belong. But looking at it legally, the Supreme Court, like I said, their decision is an act of judicial activism, because if looking at the Constitution as it is, people have been blaming the governors that they are suffocating the local government, they are doing this, they are doing that. But if you look at the 1999 Constitution as amended, that is where the problem of local government is all encompassed.
Before you come, let's start with the one I know.
Okay.
And that is Section 7.1, which clearly guaranteed that there should be a democratically elected councils.
Yes.
Let's start from there.
Yes.
To what extent have the governors breached this part of the Constitution?
God bless you. You know, in legal drafting, meaning are given to certain words. If you look at that Section 7 you've just mentioned, you will see from beginning to the end, you will not see any word shall. And the law, once you say shall, it means compulsion. It's a must, you must do that. You just say guaranteed. Guaranteed. It's that there. If that thing has said, there shall be elected local government officials in not local government, I tell you, no governor under any guise will not obey that.
When you say something is guaranteed,
yes.
So what does it mean?
It's assured. It's assured. But for it to get that deep assurance in law, the word convey it must start with shall, and it is not there. And that's the loophole where most of the state government governors are leaping on to do what they're doing. So you cannot completely accuse them of violating the Constitution, because explicitly the drafters did not make it so that there must be elected. There must be, like, if you continue with this conversation, you will see why people are contesting what the Supreme Court did. Section 162, sub 5, sub 6, sub 7, sub 8. You will see shall, which empowers the state government. All the revenues made for local government in every state of federation must be given to the state under which those local governments, are domiciled. For instance, using our own state in Enugu, that section 1625 says all the funds meant for local government in the federation should be credited to the states, various states, for the benefit of the local government. That was say, and share, which means the money must go there, and that's why what the Supreme Court did. People are some legal minds are questioning it, even some non-legal minds, because once the convention will say share, it means it must be done, and for that to be altered, it must pass through legislative process, which is the job of the National Assembly. Now, but on the other angle, the job of the Supreme Court, of the judiciary, is to interpret the laws made by the legislature. So, if by any means, in the eyes of any of the higher courts, starting from the court of records to the Supreme Court, if in looking at, because it's a constitutional matter, if looking at the issues bordering, and finds out that there is some mischief on the part of the legal drafters, they are at liberty to give meaning to the true meaning which is intended, about that situation, and that's exactly what they did. Can I drink water? The Supreme Court in this instance looked at the intendment of the framers of that constitution, and the intendment was not that if the money comes to the state government, they appropriate it and do it. They thought that we are dealing with men of conscience.
Okay, let me just come. What I think I want to address your mind to is that if the Constitution says, and rightly so, if it says, and rightly so, that democratically elected councils
should run the government,
are guaranteed, and a governor, a Democrat, a man who has sworn to the oath to defend the Constitution, to protect the Constitution, is looking for a loophole, an avenue, a cheap way to truncate democracy at that level. As a former local government chairman that was elected, as an attorney, would you not think that such governors are certainly undemocratic?
Thank you, Doc, once again. Honestly, I'm not in this studio to rationalize what some governors are doing by not respecting the letters and spirit of the Constitution, whether it is a share or not. Common sense.
It's a mistake that should, at least,
sense, yes.
in the democracy,
I'm not here to
they should be elected.
That what they did is or was right. They are ordinarily supposed to follow to the letter what the Constitution, even if the Constitution there are some
ambiguity.
I mean, they should be able to do what should be seen as just and equitable in the eyes of a human. So it is not proper for them to ignore or to be looking
look for one loophole.
It's not proper
to circumvent.
It's not proper.
Do you know what that meant? It means that the people at the ward level do not have a say who governs them. People at local government do not have a say who governs them. People are imposed on them willy-nilly, and so you don't appoint councillors, you don't appoint supervisors, so you just appoint
chairman,
some people, just a few, who perhaps have never told the people this is what we are going to do if we get elected. So in that vein, they have nothing to work for.
It's wrong.
And the people have nothing to look up to.
It's wrong.
Okay.
It's wrong.
Having said that, and also as a lawyer, now I'm sure our viewers will want to know the particular areas of the Constitution that will need some kind of an amendment. Like you rightly said, the National Assembly should do something very quickly and very urgently to give teeth, or if there's a lacuna somewhere, to at least to balance what the Supreme Court has done by looking at those sections. One, that could be the section on this section 6, the one on joint account, and 162
sub
and the rest. So what would you advise the National Assembly to do, and how urgently should they do that?
As a matter of fact, what the Supreme Court had done already is to guarantee financial freedom to the local government. And whether people say they did it coming from the back door or front door, that is to that extent that's by the way, but that is the new law in place.
Okay.
The local government have gotten financial freedom, financial autonomy right now. But the next question is, have they gotten political autonomy? The answer here, with the present constitution in place, they have not gotten political autonomy. Because insofar as the election to local government officials are left in the hands of the state government, as contained in the same constitution, which allows for each state to have state electoral commission, and many states in the federation don't have them in place. So insofar that one is still there, something there to be done. And to close the gap of agitations of some legal minds who are questioning the audacity of Supreme Court to come from behind to amend the Constitution, the National Assembly can also, leverage from what Supreme Court has done and give it a further legal teeth by ensuring that necessary amendments are made in the Constitution to, as regards to Section 162 that deals with revenue that comes into these different tiers of government, especially as pertains the local government, because all the revenue from the FAC by this constitution are supposed to be domiciled in the account of state government, from where the state legislatures will further decide on how and prescribe on how this money should go to different local governments. For instance, let me use my own local government. If my local government Daniri gets 2 naira from FAC and is sent to the state government account and further sent to the joint account, because first of all, 2 accounts are mentioned there, state account, then joint account. If these monies are domiciled there, the provision still insists that the House of Assembly of each state will prescribe how this money will further be distributed. So the National Assembly needs to take it up immediately and see what they can do to effect necessary amendments. Then to give them full autonomy, the political aspect needs to be addressed. I just read yesterday that there's a bill before the National Assembly.
They say it passed the first reading.
Passed first reading. Before now, during our last district, some of us were saying, let INEC handle it. But I think in their own wisdom, 774 local governments throughout the Federation to be given to INEC as an additional responsibility when INEC is finding it difficult to manage 30 state election and the state assembly's election and the state assembly election, you are giving them another big responsibility. So I think in their own wisdom, I think what they are trying to do is good, to create a local government, a federal created local government electoral body that will now take care of local government elections. If this is done and passes legislative eyes and get approved and get ascended by the president, who is ready to local government administration. So if any president is elected, the people will hold him accountable. If he fails to perform, the people know what to do. Again, there is need for the Constitution to properly address the status of the local government, the Constitution. If you go to the Constitution, you see we have a federal government, we have a state government, all of them structurally defined. The local government just said, local government section 7, elected officials. Everything is subordinated to the state. They need to disentangle it and make them free, and let the Constitution specify the structure of the local government system, and their status should be defined in the Constitution, so that all this trouble will come to rest.
If I get you correctly, that would mean that you're advocating that the Constitution should actually make local governments at least a federative unit. Because as it is now, it is not.
It is not. That's what I'm saying.
It's tied to the upper strengths, to the whims and caprices of the state government.
That is true.
A school of thought believes, and they hold strongly, that all funds before now collected, domiciled, managed by state governors should be so refunded. In fact, SERAP, that organization is insisting. Do you foresee a possibility of that? And if no, why? And if yes, why?
Okay, if they pursue such action, that would amount to academic exercise.
Academic,
Exercise in law. Because at the time they utilize those funds, the Constitution empowered them to do that. But by the new law in place, as put forward by judgment of Supreme Court a few days ago, any governor that does it again is in total breach and will be held accountable. And when you are making a law, you do not, the law does not take retrospective effect. You know, what has happened now, you go back to the past to bring it forward. No, it doesn't happen that way. So sit up, if they are pursuing that, they'll just make some noise in the public, get applauded, but they will not get any legal remedy at the appropriate cost. It's going to be an academic exercise, and you end at that. They will just end up making noise about it.
While we might say some governors may have run caretaker committees for 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, as the case may be, one man pointed that to me and said, could I ask my guest to interpret that for 7.5 years in Anambra State, under the watch of a man that many Nigerians believe is one of the most democratically minded person in Nigeria, and that's my brother, my friend, Itobi. He quotes the law, he knows the law, he speaks democracy, he exudes democracy, but he decided to cling on this aspect of the Constitution, and for 7.5 years, as governor of Anambra State, ran that state with caretaker committees. If you're asked to make a mild judgment on his status, what would you say?
Well, we all know the circumstances surrounding Obi's emergence as governor. Then he passed through the eye of the needle. His election, which, according to minds of reasonable public, he won the election. The victory was subverted, and it took him a whole hog of legal battle to reclaim that mandate. That's one. If you also look at why he was governor, you will notice that he operated with a legislature that had majority of the members from opposition. So, as a man, a smart guy, he had to look for a way to navigate himself in the jungle.
By denying people quality representation.
No, sir. Don't listen. He so far, look, me were not kept idle. I'm not holding forth for him. People were appointed to manage it because if his own, he must have calculated that if he organized the election, because the predominant party then was in opposition, his party may not win the election. That is one side of it. So the best bet, one thing is to win election and get power, and it to consolidate. So he had to consolidate before thinking of this. And also, like I said, the Constitution provided a leeway for him to do what he did. If the position of the local councils were properly defined by the 1999 Constitution as amended, that no governor is going to happen in time from now, we run a local government without elected officers, Obi would have done that. So we'll not hold it against him. And what is important that during that 7 years plus, he dispensed democratic dividends. He was applauded as one of the best governors in Nigeria. You can attest to that. MDG, United Nations applauded him in developmental indices during his time. So Obi was seen as one of the prudent managers of resources in Anambra. I can tell you, during his tenure, there was...
Can he be prudent in managing my own funds?
Sir?
Can he be prudent in managing my funds?
I can manage your funds.
You only manage your funds.
I can manage your funds. Unless
Could
you
he be prudent?
Unless you give me authority to manage
Could
it.
he be prudent in not allowing the local governments to have a bit of democracy while you are enjoying one?
Yeah. That's what we are saying. I keep saying that there is need to rejig the Constitution to get the local government properly placed. Once this thing is done, this is...
And something is very curious. Unless, if I'm wrong, you may correct me. This judgment was given last week. Obi has not said a word. And he's one man that is vocal. We like him. Something happens in Nigeria, he's
He will react.
He will make an elaborate commentary on it. Maybe I'm wrong. I've not seen anyone. I'm sure if he had done, he would have trended.
He has not, and he has not. And for me, he cannot do it otherwise, because he was a victim of those who sat on local government. So what do you expect him to say? Will he come to start crying? I mean, the best is to maintain study silence.
This is what they call political selective amnesia.
Study silence. At least everybody, you are in a learning process. People are now learning every day. It's not going to be like that again for what is going on now.
Now, for some states to access local government funding, as we without considering, as it is happening, that money is going to local government may not go any further. Meaning that within the time that states are not conducting local government election, funds may not go to local governments. And if they do not go for 1 month, even for 2 months, do you see a political upheaval?
And there'll be crisis.
Or a dislocation?
There'll be crisis.
And if there be one, is there any way they can
circumvent
it and make sure that workers
are
at least paid?
Of course. That's why we have intergovernmental relations. One thing, the judgment has been given. Another thing is the implementation stage. And we are human beings. This can also be discussed. We have a forum of governors forum who can interface with the Office of the Attorney General, with the Office of the Presidency via Attorney General. The President can give Attorney General go ahead to discuss with the forum of governors, and they can discuss on the timeline, for every governor to go home and do the needful by ensuring that they organize the legislative election in their various states, while the process of National Assembly, because that one cannot happen immediately. If you undergo, maybe by next year we'll have a body outside the state government having local government affairs. But for this particular judgment, in order to avoid crisis, but the worst thing that will happen is that somebody who receives his salary every month, the civil servants, all of a sudden, by virtue of this judgment, the salary is not paid because the money is not wired down. There could be discussion at the intergovernmental level, which is provided also administratively. So the forum of governors forum can now, come together and interface with the presidency and sort that one out. So funds, even if that meant for paying salaries, could be released to the various local government for them to pay the salary. While other things are, done. Otherwise, the decision ought to take once the enrollment order is released. Become fly.
Well, I think we may just have to temporarily leave the issue of local government autonomy for now, and look at other things that also may as well border on good governance, both at the state and at national level. Between Monday and Wednesday of this week that is ending, Enugu State was agog, and Enugu State played host. So, if my memory is wrong, 13 governors that came from every part of Nigeria, what they call the PDP Governors Forum. Yeah. They came to Enugu State. And between Monday evening and Tuesday and Wednesday, there were kind of some road congestion because with sirens, every part of Enugu State.
That's true.
And so there was movement. There was influx of men and women, governors, their supporters into Enugu State for what they call the PDP Governors Forum. Hoteliers, some people who are doing some business in Enugu State, benefited from these influx of the political leaders.
That's true.
Of 13 states into Enugu State. But others said, look, these governors left their states for 3 days. Some left on Monday, and they had their meeting Tuesday, and some decided to go back late Wednesday. And it's for 3 days. 13 states in Nigeria, the chief executives were absent from duty.
Yes.
They aggregated in Enugu.
Yes.
While they're saying, it's not that they spent 3 days. out of their stations. Quite a chunk of money
Yeah. We are expended.
were spent in coming here. And of course, the host state would also have done that. Many say that meeting was not worth the expenditure. And they were insensitive to the plight of Nigerians. Because one summed it up. He said, even those who made movement, that movement could have, if you check, I said, but you don't know the amount of money expended.
Yeah.
He said on the conservative, we could build 2 hospitals. somewhere in this part of the country. Now, do you believe that movement was justified?
Thank you once again, Doc. Before I address that, let me say one final thing about looking into autonomy.
Okay.
I want to appreciate the current leadership at the presidency, led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because it takes a man to get something done. During Buhari's reign, he tried to use
Executive order.
yeah, it couldn't work. So I want to say in this station that Tinubu is a pure Democrat, because if actually at the end of the day, local government are freed from various state governments to be fully independent, people can now that is the government at the grassroots. Not many have access to state government, not many. So that's why local government is in place. If you go to foreign jurisdictions, go to England, go to America, the mayor of London is in charge of transportation. That is a critical sector of London economy, and it is a local government that is, navigating it.
Even the mayor of New York.
The same thing in New York. So, and this is a government that is closest to the people. Like I said, not many have access. You and I will have access, but the majority of people at the communities don't have access to the state government, but they have the traditional have access to the local government. So I want to commend the leadership of current leadership at national level for taking this bold step, for initiating that suit at the Supreme Court, and commending the justices of the Supreme Court for being bold, audacious to take that historic decision. It could be based on public policy.
They concluded it in two months.
Policy and not on law.
In 2 months, they concluded it.
Yes, we commend them. So let's begin. I encourage all the stakeholders, the governors, not to see it as being that people are trying to bring them down. No. They're already at the upper level. Nobody can bring them down. There should be collaboration ordinarily. If the framers, their intendment was properly, put in place, there would have been this thing. And people cannot begin to look at the amount of fund, being mentioned. And you know that with the removal of oil subsidy, first subsidy, chunk of funds are coming in to all these various sectors, various levels. So if, for instance, you are looking at the local government, every month they go home, supposedly 300, 400 million, you hold the local government chairman accountable for not doing what you're supposed to do. So all in all, I think all parties should be happy with this development. That having said, going back to what you said.
Yes, you just hold your thought a bit. Let's just go on a short break. When we come back, Chief Okeze will talk about the PDP governors forum meeting that happened in Enugu, and the subsequent communique that was actually issued at the end of that meeting. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You are still watching Uncommon Conversations on Signature Television, reaching you from Enugu, the coast city state. Focus here. We before we went on break, you were trying to make a comments about the Southeast governors, no, the PDP governors meeting that happened in Enugu. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, let me come from the foundation you laid, that they left their various states
For almost 3 days.
for almost 3 days to Enugu. I dare say that we should not forget that by the time they were elected, the constitution foresaw this situation, and that's why there is a governor and a deputy governor.
You're not sure they handed to any deputy governor, but go ahead.
So supposedly, each of the governor that came to Enugu is expected to have handed the reins of government to his deputy, if he's working, whether they're working well or not. They've been elected.
They didn't travel outside the country.
At least they should hold forth for those period. Then that's one. Two, we're also the world is also a global village. A governor can stay in Enugu during that meeting and still control affairs in his state via digital communication. So on that basis, they cannot be found wanting. Then on the importance of the meeting they held in Enugu, of course, every governor is elected through a political platform. No governor was elected as independent candidate via governor, as provided in our constitution, because there's no room for independent candidates. To that extent, because they were elected under political platforms, there is need for once in a while, that those governors coming from different political parties should meet and review, even call it the peer review mechanism. They can compare notes, what is happening in state A and state B, what is happening, and who are being looked as doing better than others. In the media is now the watchdog, the 40th state. And you see every day my own governor receives award for what he's doing here in Enugu, has received several awards, in recent time. And so it should be, if you are doing very well, you'll be noticed and you'll be applauded and commended. So I don't find anything wrong in that meeting, especially when now PDP, which hitherto used to be the ruling party in Nigeria, has all of a sudden found itself to the extent of having only 13 states as today out of 13 states. It had never happened. That shows that there's something wrong with our party. I'm a PDP man. So, and whether you like it or not, he who plays the piper dictates the tune. The party, yes, they say you contribute, I contribute to run the party. But in actual sense, these who are holding the reins of power at the state level, led by the party, are expected through any means to ensure that the life of the party is kept afloat. And to that extent, our party, the PDP, may not be floating if these people who were elected under this platform abandon the party. So it's good that they come together and discuss. And the party is not a problem at the moment. We're talking about 2027, it's almost around the corner. The first year is gone. Next year, more development by these governors. The third year, they start doing politics. So they need to put their house in order. You get the point. And one of the resolutions they also reached, trying to be their brother's keeper. What is happening in Rivers State?
I was really going to ask you that question.
Okay.
If you read the communique,
yes,
you will see it was vague. Yeah, the communique is almost as empty as it could be. It said they resolved to support
Fubara.
What does that mean?
They also added, you didn't want to point that one, they want to approach the matter from political perspective. They want to resolve it not through legal. They want to, and I'm happy you're a powerful ADR expert. That matter in their own wisdom could be settled out of court. And that's the angle they want to pursue it. And that, which means that the protagonists of this battle, the governor and his SY, this godfather, the Mr. Wike, you cannot resolve that thing without getting two of them involved. It's not possible.
The governors forum of the PDP.
Yes.
I think they are members of NEC, or members of what of their party.
They are NEC members.
This issue in River didn't start yesterday.
That's true.
The other time they had a NEC meeting, when Wike was there and Fubara was there, How come it's taking them this long? Because this matter didn't start yesterday. They've been out of court. When their members of the House of Assembly defected, so it's been lingering. They didn't call an emergency meeting. They waited until they came to Enugu. Almost more than 6 months. Somebody whose house has been burning is still as powerful as rivers. And by a May declaration, I thought that what we would have been saying is, in the past 1 month, we've been able to go into rivers. And we'll have a tentative discussion that's saying they're going to support. Wike is a member of the PDP. Does that not show discrimination?
Okay.
And the former governor.
Okay, thank you, Doc. I also want to bring you to bear to know that the PDP, as we have today, whether we like it or not, is at national level is polarized along 2 lines. And that is those who believe in ex-Governor Wike and those who follows former presidential candidate of the party, Atiku Abubakar. And that's what you find in that national executive. So each group will be trying behind the scene to follow the rhythm of the music being dictated by their paymaster, and that is why it's difficult to resolve that matter. Don't also forget that this matter, Mr. President, even though it's not our party, intervened, and they got to a kind of resolution, which we don't know what happened. Who was that? Who defaulted?
Of course, it broke down.
Who defaulted? It broke down irretrievably. So, and that's why they've gone back to court. And it does appear Mr. President has washed his hand off the case. Let the court decide. But if the PDP, as we had over the weekend, decide to come in, those governors come in to went into the matter and pursue it from political angle, there's nothing wrong in it. There's nothing wrong in trying. But I still tell you that the truth is bitter truth. This matter could only be resolved between Wike and Fubara. That's bitter truth. 2 of them know what is the problem. They need to, people should sing their pride. The man knew how he became governor. If this guy had not projected him, sorry for sounding this way, he would have become. Wike should also know the limitations.
Yes.
We have to draw the line. You cannot make me governor and want to subject me. So 2 of them need to meet, sing their pride, meet. And this is out inside one corner, and but it's resolved. Not bringing many parties to come into it.
Okay, that seems to be the words of an elder. Part of the communique also enjoined the president, as they said. What is even an appeal? They said the meeting also enjoined the president not to show any political preference or interference in the upcoming elections in Edo and Ondo states. Is it possible to have Mr. President and 2 states are up for grabs? One is an APC state and one is a PDP state. And you will not make any kind of, you will not even support your party. You go and stay neutral because you are president. Most of the governors who have conducted local government elections, where other parties participated, did they show any neutrality based on their knowledge? And so if they did not, those who produce wheat should learn how to eat wheat.
So my response to there, let me start from the last you said, the governors organized local government elections, allowing the winner, the party in place winning the whole. That's why
to clear everything.
People say it's a charter, it's not election. It's election. Once you are the government, the party in power anoints you, governor clears you, you are already chairman. So that's why people are saying no. Take away the current of a government election away from the state government, have a separate body to do it, which they are trying to do now. So, but if the governors, you know, if they are reasonable enough, as we say in law, to once you've won an election, that's a way even to test the popularity of your party at the different local government levels. They should be able to encourage the independence of the electoral commissions to conduct this election. I commend the former governor El-Rufai of Kaduna, the only governor in Nigeria that conducted the election, and some parties won some local governments. And this, my leader and my governor also did it when he was Governor Chime, conducted election, and one opposition party won a local government, I think, Udenu. So we expect...
And many councillors of the
we
opposition.
expect the current leaders to encourage freedom, of doing these things, and not because when you make it one party, it looks like it makes the thing a laughing stock, because of one or two motive or the other. So the ideal thing is to liberalize the polity at the local government level. Let the popular of the parties be tested. But because it is not being done, that's why they clamor everywhere for local government to be freed. Then, having said that, what they're asking, the request or the demand for the president to allow free, for me, that request is uncalled for. So we have a body separate from the president, which is called INEC, that run this election. We've also had an election that was off-season election, and that is Bayelsa State. And the president sat like that, and at Asoro, election was conducted, and they won again and came back. So this request, maybe they're not trying to re-emphasize. We've known this man as a Democrat. I don't see him coming out nakedly, that his party must win. Some people might persuade him to do it, but I don't see President Tinubu doing that. He won't do that. So I dare say that the request by our party governors, is, if I use the word, they should go and join their colleagues there and campaign. The campaign period is still there, and convince people to win the election. Not looking for is it award? It's not award. It's election.
Okay. By that, would you find anything odd if Mr. President traveled to Ondo to campaign for his candidate, or perhaps traveled to Edo to campaign for his candidate? Assuming you are a governorship candidate, and you now invite Mr. President that you have a campaign, and ask him to come to your domain, to say one or two things to your people. Yes. And he said, "This is my party man. Please vote for him." Would that amount to interference? At all.
It's a party. He was elected under a party platform, and the election is being conducted along certain party lines. He's expected to, if he's invited by his party candidate, to come and campaign. If he has the time, he can go. If he doesn't, he can delegate somebody. Because the job at the president,
he's the leader of the party,
is so enormous for him to even have time to attend. But if he does have time, it does not mean that once he appears there, the candidate must win the election. No. The candidate vying for the election, Nigerians are wiser now. They will look at what you have presented, your manifesto, and also look at the performance of those who are leaving the stage. If, for adventure, the sitting governor of a particular state, where the election was conducted for that particular party, did not do well, do not expect the person to win election. He will not win, because people will judge him. It happened in my local election here, by-election. Let me not discuss it here. So if the outgoing governor of a party, any of those states, did not do well, there is likely tendency that the candidate they are projecting will lose the election. That is the truth of the matter.
Maybe lastly on this matter, the PDP governors took a swipe on the APC-led government as concerns the economy. And they said they ran the economy better than the APC, that the APC had brought the Nigerian economy to the ground. One man particularly said, when we were discussing the thing yesterday, he said, well, if the Enugu and Onitsha road is anything to go by, that the PDP should actually cover their faces in shame. Because now you can say, he said, you can go to Onitsha now.
It is.
Using the express. It may not be totally perfect. But he said in the time of PDP, you couldn't go through that. So very quickly, what do you have to say?
Well, you see, if we are sincere enough and not to be partisan, I make bold to say, if not for the mistake made by Mr. President at his inauguration, when he said subsidy removed, that brought the problem, the current hardship everybody's facing in Nigeria. Because the Nigerian economy is dictated by the oil, Nigerian oil. So by that singular executive pronouncement as the new sheriff in town, change the narratives. have pushed everybody back to the driver's seat. So, and they've been struggling since then to navigate themselves out of it. But in fair to them, going by what we can see for development going on, Doc, we have to give Mr. Tinubu and his team kudos. That's my stand on that.
Okay, that's a very fast one. You know, the way this 1 hour will just disappear, you think it's just 10 minutes. A very fast last one. Yesterday, all this fight in Nigeria about minimum wage, all this rigmarole, all this endless strike, all this 1 million naira march, and all that would appear to have come to an end yesterday, just very suddenly. Mr. President said 70,000 naira. And Labour said, we're home and dry. Your comments?
Well, first of all, I want to thank the President for being sensitive to the plight of Nigerian workers. I also commend the NLC, TUC for their bargain chip, their bargain. If you look at the progression, you see before now, the minimum wage was 30,000 naira. From 30, they now get additional increase of 40,000 naira, making it 70. So it's more than 100% increase. And the good thing there, as I read this afternoon from one of the tabloids, is that it's no longer 5 years you come back to discuss. It cannot be discussed within 3 years tenure. You come back. And that, you know, made the workers to become more happier going home. And you also observe that before now, one particular state in the South was paying 70,000. And I'm happy Mr. President keyed into it. And that is those states. I have to mention it. I commend them. And maybe because it's going, the rest is this state. So what we're saying, at least it's a step going forward. And let me also tell the NLC and TUC, strike most often does not solve this problem. Because end up, you know, getting everything strangulated, getting people more frustrated. This thing can also be handled through other ADRMs and get the country moving.
Okay, thank you, Chief Okezie Mwanjoko, for finding time to be with us here. And I would dare say that you've been able to discharge the questions that we posed on you.
Thank you very much, sir. My pleasure.
Hope that next time when we invite you, find time to come to be here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And to our viewers, you've been watching Uncommon Conversations. And this is where we bring it to an end. Join us same time next week for yet more interesting editions of this program. Thank you for watching.